to the beginning of your slides and just go through them. Yours, this is fine for your submission. There's just a few things in it that I want to make sure because I'm not teaching you guys in person. I'm trying to be as thorough as I can about this class because these are really important pieces of teaching. So you're fine as far as submitting this and scoring it as I can score it at a 10 because you've met the requirements. I just want to make a few notes to you as a teacher that I would have gone over in class if I would have had you in person. So, because the amount of material that the class requires you all to look through for information is quite a bit, and I can see where it would be really easy to miss things. I just want to make sure I'm doing right by you all. So you have this, this is fine, and you've gone through what a an IEP is for. I wanted to just say that, just be clear that supports and services that are offered through an IEP also include things that are not related to academic success. They may have something to do with social and emotional success, or some other issue that's a physical requirement. So I just want to be sure that's clear to you. You have speech therapy and multisensory reading instruction, which is definitely true. However, sometimes students are thinking an IEP is only for an academic need, and the academic need is based on some kind of difference in their learning abilities or styles. And I just like to make sure that my students understand that there's many more types of IEPs than that. And it's really good to call them learning differences instead of disabilities. So that's just a personal preference of mine, and more people are doing that, so that might be something you want to look at there. But again, you're fine for the submission. um, Here are the things you're looking for in an IEP. Yeah, you would have a baseline, and oftentimes the teacher is the one who has helped to take the baseline, which is data about where the student currently is, as you mentioned. Sometimes goals, there are annual goals. However, there are things that happen in between there called SMART goals and objectives that I just want to make sure you understand. So if you want to go back and just read over anything you find about that, because sometimes the teacher in the classroom will be helping with that. And a lot of times special education is not their resource teachers, and they're not special ed teachers anymore, really. There may be places that still call it that, but it's really better to think of it as resources than the old-fashioned special ed was kind of a not such a great term anymore. But you wouldn't have any way of knowing that unless I teach you that, so that's why I'm doing this. I'm sure you're still seeing it in some of the literature, and that we need to clean that up. So present level of performance, yes. So this is what I was talking about, where you look at everything that the student has going on, and again, not disability, but learning difference. How does it impact involvement and progress in the general education curriculum? And yes, so that's really good. And just remember that it's not just an academic performance that we're looking at sometimes. Annual goals, that's really good. And again, it's sometimes the skill is in social and emotional development. And again, I would look at this special education, and maybe I'll look and find a substitute phrase for you guys. I'm not sure what JCPS has it listed as right now. It may still be special needs services. um, but for people who are receiving those services in their families, that can be a really derogatory term and they find it very demeaning. So we try to look at other ways to describe that. Yes, you do have to coordinate. Yes. Okay. And instead of special education, you would call it IEP goal implementation, if that helps you. Um, you're looking at their modifications and their accommodations, what those are called. And there you have accommodations and modifications in assistive technology. Um, and yes, you are good there. Um, so you have here that behavioral issues can be a barrier to learning, and that is true. Um, However, I just want to be clear again that behavioral or social emotional challenges are often actual IEP goals. So, and English language learners, um, I'm not sure how those are dealt with in IEPs because English language learners are usually receiving an education that's designed to help them. So, when they have an IEP, it should not have anything to do with their language learning. It should be some other issue that's been identified. So, anyway, just wanted to make sure that's clear for you. And may include a behavior intervention plan. So, that's good for me to see because I'm thinking you are getting the idea that an IEP could be just social and emotional goals. Because those are actually cognitive glitches, and we understand that. So we don't treat those as choices children are making, but that they have cognitive glitches that may be creating the emotional social goals. I hope that makes sense. um, so I just want to make sure when you're determining IEP eligibility that just be sure you know who does that and what the process is, and usually each principal deals with that a little bit differently, and there's a counselor in the building who works with that. So when you become a teacher, if you're in a public school building, make sure you know who that person is, and just make sure you know in the building where you work what is the process for determining IEP eligibility, because it can be different in different settings. Okay, then you have your IFSP, and those are fine. And I think that was, yeah, so you're all good. I just wanted to make sure, like I said, that because I didn't have you all in class, I just want to make sure that you leave the class with some knowledge that you might not have had from just reading online. Okay,